Hi, everyone. Welcome to yoga. This class I planned for you as a way to welcome spring, and it will be gentle. We'll flow starting from the floor and have a few props nearby as well. So I like to practice with 1 to 2 yoga mats underneath me as well as a rolled out blanket. I have a chair nearby, 2 blocks, and then extra blankets and maybe a bolster for the end of our practice. So let's begin lying on our backs. Make your way slowly, spine to mat, and ease yourself down. And we can start here by extending the legs and extending the arms. Full breath in and a long breath out. Maybe pointing and flexing the toes here, reaching one foot beyond the other and bending a bit through the knees as well. And then readjusting the hips, realigning the feet here, keeping that left leg long, bend through the right knee and then reach for the right knee. However you like to make that connection of hand to knee. We'll pull this right thigh in towards the side body. Having a few moments to connect with sensation and breath. Also taking some time to check in with the state of your mind and just noticing how you're feeling and how you're showing up in this moment. Releasing that right leg and then picking up the left. Wrapping the hands around the left knee and pulling that left thigh in towards the side body. Breathing in and breathing out here. And then releasing that left side. You may want to have another moment here where we point the toes away and then reach the hands up towards the ceiling. One arm can extend back and then pick that hand up. The other arm can extend back and then pick that hand up. And now both arms can extend back as you point the toes away from you. Breath in and breath out. Walking both feet down onto your mat, flexing through your knees, we'll pick up a foot and then the other one for reverse tabletop. And then allowing the hands to come to the thighs here. We'll apply a little bit of pressure of hands into thighs as we push the thighs into the hands as well. So activating through the belly muscles, pushing down through the upper part of the spine, the back of the head, maintaining that connection into the floor. And then releasing there as you hug your knees in. You could rock a little bit from side to side. Rolling yourself back through center, and then just extending that right leg long. And then keeping that left knee bent, but the foot hovering in air. And we'll reach that left arm up towards the ceiling and then overhead. And now you have an option here to keep that right heel on the floor, or you could hover that right leg, whatever you like. We're just going to flow from side to side here. My other hand is down onto the floor, palm down. So we'll reach and then alternate. So again, you could tap the heel, you could hover the heel, or maybe do a combination of the two. One more time on each side. And then bringing those knees back up, bringing hands towards the knees, and then just start to point the toes up towards the ceiling, towards your head, and then away. And then circle around with the ankles. And change the direction of those circles. Placing the feet back down onto the floor. Walking your feet in towards the pelvis, arms alongside the body. A few rotations of pelvic tilts here where we pull that low back away from the mat and then we press that low back down into the mat. Just a few. Warming up through the pelvis. And then the next time you have that lumbar curve, just pressing down into the floor, we'll push into the feet and lift the pelvis up. And you could walk those shoulders underneath you. You could clasp the hands underneath you as well. Find more of a lift on the outside of the shoulders and then press the belly and pelvis up towards the ceiling. We'll stay for 3 rounds of breath. And then slowly release the shoulders, release the bind with the hands, and then bring the spine back down towards the floor. One knee may want to come in, then the other, and then rock again from side to side. This time, perhaps you get onto the shoulder and the hip, and then you rock all the way to the other side, shoulder and the hip. And wherever you land, just have a moment of pause on your side before pressing up. Now bringing in some qualities of mindfulness, some attention to that reawakening of spring, reemergence from dark into light. And then we'll all meet into hands and knees. And again, I have this blanket folded underneath for extra knee support. So take your time, finding hands and knees here. I'm going to start with my palms pressing down onto my blanket, some space between the fingers, and then I'm rocking myself forward and back. Hips and shoulders hinge. And then adding in some hip circles, rotating around here. Going in the other direction. And then pausing in the middle here for a wide knee child pose. So the knees could be hip width, or you could take them wide to the width of your mat or blanket. And then soften your forehead down, reaching the arms beyond the shoulders. Bringing attention to the breath between the shoulder blades, along the right and left side of the body, inflating the breath, and then deflating the breath. Sliding the hands back towards the shoulders, pushing yourself up, walking yourself back onto cushioning underneath the knees, and then bringing this right arm out to the side, reaching this right arm up towards the ceiling, any amount, and then threading it underneath the left. So I have extra support here with the blanket, coming down onto my right shoulder, right side of my head, and then extending this left arm forward. Pressing the back of that right hand down into the floor. Finding breath connection here, where the right shoulder is pressing down And that whole shoulder joint is pulling away from center spine. Assisting the stretch with your breath. And then sliding this left hand back towards the shoulder, pressing through that left palm. And we'll take this to the other side. Making any adjustments with your low body. Maybe you like the knees a little bit wider. Left arm out to the side, reaching up. And then threading that left arm underneath the right. Pressing down through the back of that left palm, reaching with the right hand. Breath in and out here. Slowly sliding this right hand back towards your right shoulder, pressing through the palm to allow your other arm to unthread. Walking those hands and knees. And then opening up through the low body here. So I'm shifting my weight into the right knee and the top of that right foot, pulling in this left knee, and then extending this left leg long, keeping the toes curled under, pressing back through the heel. Hi, Lily. Hi. Ooh, good stretch. Yeah, that's a good one. Hi. Yeah. So pushing down through the base of the palms here, through that back left heel, breathing into the back of the left leg. I'm going to take it to the other side in just a moment. And shifting the weight, left knee, top of the left foot, supports, and then finding that right knee pulled in, and then extend that right leg long, curling the toes, and then pressing back through that right heel. Those are my props. That's mine, Lily. Yeah, always stealing my props. Pushing down through the base of the palms, pushing out through that back right heel, breath in and out. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Go get it. And then bringing that right leg back in. Opening up the width of the knees slightly. Finding those blocks. I love extra support for wrists. Having blocks on the medium edge here and just rising up the upper part of your torso here by squeezing the edges of the blocks. And then I'm shifting my weight into that top of the right foot and right knee. And again, I'm pulling in the knee, this time on the left side, but now I'm going to just draw circles with this left knee. Circling around in one direction. It can be small circles, large circles. And then we rotate in the other direction. And we'll take this to the other side in just a moment. Switching it out, top of the left foot, left knee takes the weight, and then right knee pulls in, and then open up with your hip circles now on the right. Maybe these circles start large and then work their way into being smaller. And then we change the direction of the circles. And then releasing through that right knee. Curling both toes under, walking the blocks in towards the knees, and then pressing and shifting the weight slightly forward, and then onto the tiptoes, and then back, we can lift the knees. So a little forward energy, and then backward energy. Finding a little rocking here into your squat. Maybe there's a hovering. Reaching through the arms, hanging the head heavy here. Tucking the chin. Breath in and breath out. Shaking the head to the right and to the left. And then rolling yourself forward. Knees come down, walking the blocks forward. Excuse me, Lily. I'm going to move the blanket as well. Squeezing these blocks, curling toes under, again, pushing up into your downward dog or your version of downward dog. There's so many here. I like to walk my feet out further than hip width and then walk the feet in just a little bit. And I have more connection of the foot onto the mat as I hinge back through the hips and hang the head heavy here. Again, just squeezing the edges of those blocks. Breath in and out. Maybe shaking the hips to the right and then to the left. You could even draw circles. Excuse me, there's so many distractions. I don't know what it is that you need, those. Here, you have my props, you have my blanket. You want to sleep here? Yeah. She's in the mood to play. So circling around, maybe hinging a little bit more forward in those circles. And then slowly walking the feet towards the hands. I like to flip up the blocks. And finding moment here in flat back position, my fingertips connecting to the edges of the block. And then depending on the health of your spine and where you are at, maybe we just stay here, extending through the crown of the head. And then soften the palms down onto the blocks, bend the knees, and then hinge a little bit through the head and neck. So you could stay right there if you did not want a deeper flexion within the spine. So I'll mimic that one more time, just pressing fingertips into the edges of the block, straightening legs here, looking up, finding that extension to the spine through the crown of the head. And then softening the palms on the blocks, bending through the knees, slightly tucking the chin towards the chest. Finding support here through the spine. And then obviously there's that deep flexion that you could take if that feels comfortable for you. Forward fold. Pushing palms into the edges of those blocks, bending the knees, and then releasing the hand away from the blocks and bringing the hand to each thigh. And then pushing down to rise up. So we'll hang together here in mountain pose, opening up the palms, reaching the arms up towards the ceiling along with the gaze, and then just lifting one arm as you bend one knee, reaching through side body as if you're climbing a ladder up. And maybe pressing the palms together overhead and then diving down towards one side. Come on back up through center and then diving down towards the other side. And back up through center. Finding some reach here, breath in, and then breath out. Rolling the shoulders around. And then changing the direction of those shoulder circles. And then from here, I'll move the blocks off to the side. And then find a place for this chair. So two legs of the chair can be on the mat. And I'm walking right up to the chair, lifting the arms up. Inhaling, and then exhale, hinging at the hips, and then reaching for the sides of the chair. I like to give a little squeeze here and extend through the pelvis, hang the head here, walking the hands up the sides of the chair. And then you could ultimately have the hands on the top of the chair back and hang your head here. 3 rounds of breath through the upper back, middle back, and low back. And then walking the hands back down the sides of the chair. And then pressing the hands onto the chair seat. Finding a reach up, extend through the crown of the head. And then walking the hands up the chair and walk your feet closer to the chair. So we'll use the chair for our standing lunge, hands on the hips. Step with the right foot between the chair legs and then step back with the left foot. So we're coming into warrior two legs. So we have that imaginary line that we can draw from the right heel to the inner aspect of that left foot. But we'll keep this front right leg straight. But we have this chair seat almost covering half of the foot. So it'll be available for us. And then reaching the arms out into T position, hinge through the hips towards the chair, towards that right leg, and then maybe that hand will fall onto the chair back. And then you could hang out here, or you could pull back in and then reverse your triangle, reaching that right arm up towards the ceiling. And then lifting up and out of the waist, reaching that hand back towards the top of the chair. So just moving in and out like this. And then the next time we have that hinge, reaching towards the chair, placing that right hand down onto the chair seat, that left hand can come to the hip here, or you can reach this left arm up with your gaze towards the ceiling for supported triangle pose. Pushing down through that right hand. All sides of the feet here, small toe, great toe, inner outer heel, all making connection with the ground. And then option to reach that left arm up and over the ear towards the chair. You could even slide this right hand to grip the chair back for a side stretch. Lifting this left arm back up and out. Maybe finding the hip as you slide that right hand back to the edge of your chair seat, the front edge of your chair seat. And then pushing up, hands on hips. Bend into this right knee and then pull the left foot to meet. So we're back where we started. And I'm just going to flip my chair so you can see this on the other side. So now this left foot will be between the chair legs and I'm stepping back with this right leg. So opening up into this warrior two stance where again that left heel now drawing imaginary line to that inner right foot. And then from here, we'll begin to move through the arms. So finding that extension of the arms here and then reaching with that left hand towards the top of the chair, hinging through that left hip, and then pulling back, and then maybe reversing your triangle here. Lifting up and out of the waist, coming back into that hinge action. Just having a little feedback for that left hand at the top of the chair. And then one more, reaching up. This time that left hand will find its way to the chair seat. This right hand can be on the hip. And then we have the option to raise that right arm up towards the ceiling. Gaze could go up as well. Find your rounds of breath here. That right arm may want to hug the right ear as you come into your side bend, reaching that right hand towards the chair and then sliding that left hand towards the back of the chair seat. Lifting up and out of the waist here. Hand to the hip, and then push off with that left hand and coming back up. And then bending into this left knee, bringing the right to meet. Still standing in front of the chair here. Walking my feet at chair leg distance. Lifting up and lengthening out through the crown and leaning back slightly here. And then coming back to the middle, hinging at the hips. And then one arm may reach for the side of the chair, and then the other arm may reach for the side of the chair. And then pulling back a little bit here through the hips, hanging the head heavy. You could walk the hands up the sides of the chair. And then lifting up your gaze. Walking the hands down the edges of the chair, pressing the palms down onto the chair seat. From here, shift the weight into one leg and then bend through the knee to come down. Shift the weight into the other knee and then bend to come down. And then I need to steal my blanket back, little one. Yes, I need this blanket. This is mine. This is my blanket. Sorry. There's only 5 others for you. And then having some extra support underneath the knees, and then placing those elbows onto the chair seat here, pressing the palms together, and then hang the head heavy down here. Maybe the forehead rests on the edge of your chair seat. Bend at the elbows. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly releasing through the arms, lifting the forehead up. Sliding one hand and then the other to come out of that stretch. And then we're coming back up onto the knees here, kneeling. We'll move the chair out of the way. And then again with that blanket for knee support. Stay up on our knees, hands on the hips here. And then sit back down and then sit up. So just a little bit of action through the hips and the knees, sitting down and rising. So I'll show this from the side. Sitting and then lifting. And then the next time that you're sitting down, we can reach back with one arm. So I'm reaching back with my right arm here and then sweeping this left arm across the body and finding that reach up. So you could stay here down low with the hips to the heels, or as we sweep to the other side, you may want to decide and lift. So we're alternating side to side. You could again keep those hips down, or you could lift them up as you sweep that opposite arm across the body. Just keep the breath moving through. And then coming forward, walking the knees back in. I like having an extra blanket for this one. So having an extra folded blanket and then placing it along the calves. curling toes under if you like here, just having a little bit more of a lift and a little extra cushion underneath the backs of the thighs. I'm going to reach back with one hand and grasp my heel. And then I'll reach back with the other hand and grasp the other heel. Now you don't even need to lift the pelvis up here, but you could have that extra support with the blanket underneath the thigh and then squeeze the shoulder blades together for that beautiful heart opening lift. If you wanted to engage the belly muscles and push the pelvis facing forward, you could try that too. Breath in and breath out. Slow release. One hand comes forward, the other hand comes forward, and then you could walk your knees into a wider shape here, and then steal that blanket. Bring it in front. Stacking the forearms, and then releasing your forehead onto the forearm. Enjoying some deeper, wider, fuller breaths here. And slowly turning your head and neck back through center, and then rocking yourself from right and then to left to rise up. And maneuver ourselves back onto our spines. So lying down again. But this time have a few props nearby. So I have an eye pillow, this extra blanket, and a bolster. And I will use all of these to rest my spine back down. And then placing this bolster underneath the thighs. Finding this blanket. And then feel free to unravel the blanket so you have some coverage. Or maybe put on some socks and a sweatshirt. Having some full coverage for toes. And then finding that eye pillow. And then gently placing that eye pillow over your eyes. Resting the weight of your body down into the floor, into the earth. Be adjusting yourself until you feel comfortable. Maybe bringing one hand on that soft part of your belly, 1 to 2 inches above your belly button, just to feel the rise and fall of your breath. Taking a few moments to tune into your surroundings. So maybe noticing the sounds in the space that you're in, the sound of your breath. Notice the temperature of the air. Notice the texture of clothes on your skin. Maybe taking time to readjust any of these supportive props. Noticing any smells in the space, any lingering tastes in the mouth. And even if your eyes are closed and if they're supported by this eye pillow, see what you can see. Maybe there's a vastness of dark colors. Maybe there's no color. Maybe there's a little bit of light moving through. Just tuning into the space that you're in, noticing your body, your breath, and the thoughts that come in and the thoughts that roll out. Maybe you keep one hand on the lower part of the belly and then you rise the other hand up towards the heart space. Closing out your practice with stillness and quiet, lingering for however long you need to.